I asked 100 people under 30 to send me their last 3 months of spending data. No filters, no curating, just raw bank statements and credit card history, exactly as it was. I expected to find 100 different problems spread across 100 different financial situations. What I actually found stopped the mid-spreadsheet and made me go back and recheck my methodology. 100 completely different people. Different incomes, different cities, different lifestyles entirely, and virtually the same structural hole in almost every single budget I looked at. Not similar, not close, the same shape, the same categories, driven by the same psychology. Today, I am going to show you exactly what that hole looks like, and more importantly, why it is there. Because the reason is not what most people assume. And the fix is not what most people try. My name is Austin. 7 years of working in the financial markets have taught me that patterns in personal finance are clearer than any chart. Let me start by explaining how exactly I collected this data, because methodology matters. I put out an open call on my Telegram channel and asked anyone under 30 who wanted a free spending audit to send in their last 90 days of transactions. Everything was anonymized. Every transaction across all 100 submissions was categorized into 12 spending categories. I built a spreadsheet that would make a data analyst proud. And then I started looking for patterns. The first thing I noticed was not the hole itself. It was what was not responsible for the hole. The things you would expect to be the problem, going out, clothing, travel, daily coffee, were almost never the primary issue. People in their 20s are actually reasonably disciplined about the spending they can see and feel. The nights out are tracked. The clothing purchases are remembered. The big vacations are planned for. The hole was invisible, and that is precisely why it persisted identically across 100 different people. Before I show you what the hole is, let me show you what the overall data actually looked like. Average monthly take-home income across all 100 participants was around $3,200. Average monthly tracked spending, things people could recall when asked, came out to about $2,400. That leaves roughly $800 per month unaccounted for in the average person's mental model of their finances. $800 every single month that people believed existed somewhere but could not locate. Across 12 months, that is close to $10,000 per year. Invisible. Every year. Now here's the first thing that genuinely surprised me. And it is the reason I double-checked everything. That $800 gap was not random noise scattered differently across each person. It clustered into the same 3 or 4 categories in almost every single submission I looked at. The shape of the hole was identical, even when the absolute dollar amounts were different across participants. Let me walk you through the 4 layers of the hole, starting with the smallest and working toward the largest. Layer 1 is recurring charges. You know this category exists, but you have dramatically underestimated its total size. Across my 100 participants, the average person was paying for 11 active subscriptions per month. Streaming platforms, music apps, cloud storage, fitness apps, premium app tiers, food delivery memberships. The average monthly subscription spend across all participants was $263 per month. When I asked people to estimate their subscription spending before showing them the data, the average guess was $91. That is a $172 gap per month on subscriptions alone. Every single month. In the under 30 group specifically, subscription creep is worse than in any other age segment I've seen, because this generation grew up inside the subscription economy. Each addition felt completely natural. Each price increase felt minor. Over time, the total became invisible. A financial background noise that nobody tracks, because it never feels urgent. That is layer 1. Roughly $170 per month in unacknowledged subscription spending. Layer 2 is convenience fees embedded inside normal purchases. And this one is harder to see because it hides in plain sight. When you order food delivery, you pay the mini price, plus a delivery fee, plus a service fee, plus a tip, plus a markup on the items themselves. The average delivery order across my participants cost 41% more than the equivalent meal purchased or prepared another way. People track the food spending in their budget. They did not track the 41% premium sitting hidden inside that food spending. The same effect shows up in rideshare versus driving yourself, in express shipping versus standard, in convenience store prices versus grocery prices. The convenience premium is real, it is large, and it is almost entirely invisible inside categories that look normal and accounted for. Across all participants, convenience premiums added an average of $143 per month to spending that appeared categorized and controlled. Now here's a number that should make you stop and think right now. The average person in this study was spending $263 on subscriptions and $143 on convenience premiums. That is $406 per month on the first two layers alone, before we even get to layers 3 and 4. Layer 3 is where the numbers start getting uncomfortable, because this layer is about interest. 61% of my under 30 participants were carrying a balance on at least one credit card every single month. The average balance being carried was $2,140. At the average credit card APR for this group, roughly 22% annually, that is around $39 per month in pure interest. $39 per month does not sound catastrophic by itself, but that is the average. For participants with higher balances, monthly interest cost exceeded $100. And here's what makes interest payments uniquely destructive in a personal budget. They produce absolutely nothing. Every other spending category produces something in your life. Food, transport, housing, entertainment, all deliver real value. Interest payments are the only line item that actively removes value from your future while delivering zero value in your present. 61% of participants were paying a silent recurring fee every month for the privilege of having spent money they did not have at some prior point. That is layer 3, between $40 and $100 per month in pure value destruction, depending on balance level. Alright, I need to stop here for a moment because I want to give you something practical right now while this is fresh. I posted the full 12 category audit template I use on my Telegram channel. It's formatted so you can fill in your own numbers in about 20 minutes. I have not seen it fail to surface something the person did not know was there. Link is in the description below. It is free, takes 30 seconds to join. Now let's get to layer 4. Because layer 4 is the one that accounts for the single largest share of the whole, by a significant margin, and it is the layer that made me reconsider assumptions I had held about personal finance for years. Layer 4 is what I am calling social proximity spending, and almost nobody has a budget category for it. Social proximity spending is all expenditure driven not by your own desires, but by the financial behavior of the people around you. Let me give you the specific transaction types from the data that fall into this category. First day dinners at restaurants chosen by someone else, where the bill gets split evenly regardless. Average cost per participant per month, $67. Group trips and events where the baseline cost was set by what the group could afford, rather than what you personally could afford. Average monthly amortized cost, $89. Rounds of drinks, coffees, and meals where social reciprocity created an unspoken expectation to spend at your company's level. Average monthly cost, $52. Gifts for social occasions. Birthdays, engagements, housewarmings, new jobs that feel effectively mandatory in your social context. Average monthly amortized cost, $44. I want to be clear here. I am not saying these are bad things to spend money on. Human connection has genuine value. What I am saying is that not a single participant, not 1 out of 100, had a budget line for social proximity spending. It appeared in every participant's transactions every single month without exception. It was never planned, never tracked, and it totaled an average of $252 per month. That is the largest single layer of the whole for the majority of the people in this stack, more than subscriptions, more than convenience fees, more than interest charges. $252 per month, driven by social context rather than personal choice, with no category to live in anywhere in anyone's budget. Let me now put the complete picture in front of you. Subscription CREA, $172 per month, above what people estimated they were spending. Convenience premiums, $143 per month, hidden inside normal categories that looked fine. Interest charges, $40 to $100 per month in pure value destruction with zero return. Social proximity spending, $252 per month with no budget category anywhere in sight. Total monthly whole, roughly $650 to $700 across the average participant in this study. Annualize that, it's between $7,800 and $8,400 per year, disappearing invisibly. That is not loose change. That is the foundation of a real investment position built in a single year. That is 6 months of a solid emergency fund. That is the gap between building something and building nothing. Now let me tell you the thing that surprised me most about this entire data set, because it completely changes what the solution actually is. The participants who were most financially stressed were not the ones who spent the most in any single category. They were the ones who had the largest gap between what they thought they spent and what they actually spent. The whole is not primarily a spending problem. It is a visibility problem. When you cannot see where the money is going, you genuinely cannot make real decisions about it. When spending is invisible, it is also practically uncontrollable. Not because you lack discipline, but because you were trying to drive with the windshield completely blacked out. Every fix that actually worked across my participants came down to the same core principle. Make the invisible visible first. Not spend less, not cut more. See accurately. The decisions follow on their own once you can actually see clearly. Here's what the participants who genuinely improved their situation within 90 days actually did differently. They did not create elaborate budgets. In fact, the people who built the most detailed budgets in my sample had worse outcomes than average. Detailed budgeting directs your energy towards managing money rather than acting on money. Those are not the same thing. What worked was a single 30-minute monthly audit. One session, looking backward, categorizing every transaction from the previous 30 days, not forward projections. Not tracking every individual purchase in real time. Just one backward-looking monthly review. The act of seeing the members accurately once per month was enough to shift the following month's behavior without any explicit rules or restrictions. You do not need to decide to spend less on convenience fees once you can see that you spent $140 on them last month. The visibility creates the decision automatically. You do not have to force it with willpower. The second thing that actually worked was giving social proximity spending its own budget line. Not cutting it, just naming it. And participants had a labeled social spending budget of $300. They spent about $300 and felt fine about it. When they had no category for it at all, they spent $300 and felt guilty and confused about where their money had gone. The category does not change the amount. It changes your relationship to the spending and makes real future decisions possible. Here's the thing I want to leave you with. And this reframes everything that came before it. Every person in the study was trying to manage their finances the way schools teach it. Make a plan, stick to it, use willpower and discipline. And almost none of them were succeeding at that model. Not because they were undisciplined people, because the model itself is structurally wrong. Money management is not primarily a discipline problem. It is primarily an information problem. The people who are genuinely good with money are not more disciplined than you. They have better information about what is actually happening in their finances. That information gap, that difference between what you think is happening and what is actually happening, is the real hole in the budget. Everything else, every symptom, every stress, every month where you cannot figure out where the money went, that is downstream of the visibility problem. If you want to run the same audit on your own spending, the exact template I used across all 100 participants, it is waiting for you in my Telegram channel, @AustinOnFin. Link is in the description right below this video. It takes about 20 minutes. It will surface something you did not know was there. I have not seen that fail yet. Drop a comment below and tell me which layer of the hole is yours. I read every single one. Subscribe if you want more of this. Because next week, we are going somewhere that most people find genuinely uncomfortable. We are going to look at why your salary is probably already decided before your interview, and why most salary negotiations are theater. I will see you there.